Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, wherever you are in the world, welcome to our Sunday gathering. T3. It is hard to believe. Our theme is seeing life through the eyes of a child. So I give my buddies here full permission to just let your inner child play today. And also you at home, let loose, be a kid again. I don't know what happened, but back in the day, each one of us didn't want to take naps and we didn't want to go to bed at night. And now we love a good nap. And it's like, how soon can we get to bed? What happened? Yesterday, this girl here, knowing the theme for today, I decided to take myself to a parade. The little town that we lived in had a parade. They haven't had one in 4 years because of COVID. So I took myself by myself to the parade route and I did a lot of walking. And as I was walking, looking for a good place to watch the parade, a little girl grabbed me and she says, "Hi." And she reached out her hand and she was probably only 2 or 3 years old. And I said, "Hi." And she says, "What's your name?" I said, "I'm Sandra." "What's your name?" She says, "I'm Sarah." So I said, "Well, I'm going to keep walking." And she says, "Okay." So every few steps, she says, "Bye, Sandra." And I turned around and, "Bye, Sarah." And this went on as far as I could hear her voice. And it was the cutest thing. But when did we stop being fully self-expressed like that? Yesterday was International Friendship Day, and I'm just so grateful that I'm here with my friends. So my name's Sandra Champlain. If we haven't met yet, I have my beautiful friend Carrie McLeod, wonderful Philip Dykes, and Darren Wynn with me. I have seen them all at Disney World. We've been on the rides. We are big kids. So just sit back and relax, okay? And let that little kid shine within you. See if you can see our Sunday gathering today and the rest of the day and the rest of your life through the eyes of a child. And we'll bring back some magic. So I'm going to turn it over to Carrie for the opening prayer.
Thank you very much, Sandra. Beautiful songs to begin with. I won't even tell you how many words of each song I know. It's lovely. Thank you very much. If we can enter into that space that we know is that prayer to whoever you want to send that prayer to, your loved ones or that creative force of life, let us gather together within this space. Divine and ever-present, unseen world spirit of life. Today we come together within that spirit of life, within that unseen thought of the child. The child doesn't have to think or see. It knows the boundless, beautiful world around about them, and allow us today to enter into that space. We might be here for 90 minutes together, but allow what you experience here within yourself to set your inner child free. For we know that creative force of life lives within each and every one of us. So allow us to feel that expression, that truth, that everlasting hope and love of an unseen world that walks hand in hand with us. Amen.
Thank you for that, Kerry, and thank you for a wonderful theme you've come up with, Sandra. And I was watching those videos, and same as Kerry, I could quite happily sing along to those songs all day. As you know, we're all big kids at heart, and we're all huge fans of Disney. I'm going to be doing a reading today. I've got two different readings to do from slightly different perspectives. The first one I'm going to read, you'll probably all resonate with. I believe it's our kind of generation and how we would respond. A young man asked his grandfather, "Grandpa, how did you live in the past without technology, without computers, without internet connection, without TVs, without air conditioners, without cars, no cell phones?" Grandpa answered, "As your generation lives today, there are no prayers. There is no compassion. There is no respect, no real education. There is no personality. There is no shame at all. There is no modesty. There is no honesty. We, the people born between the years of 1940 and 1980, were the blessed ones. Our lives are living proof. While playing and riding a bike, we have never worn a helmet. Before school, then we played, and again after school until dusk, and hardly ever watched television. We played with real friends, not virtual ones. If we were thirsty, we would drink tap water or water from the hose, not mineral water. We never worried, even as we shared the same cup of juice with our 4 friends. We never gained weight by eating plates of pasta every day. Nothing happened to our feet despite roaming barefoot. We never used food supplements to stay healthy. We used to make our own toys and play with them. Our parents were not rich. They gave love, not stuff. We never had a cell phone, DVD, game console, Xbox, video game, PC, internet, chat, but we had true friends. We visited our friends without being invited and shared and enjoyed the food with them. Parents lived nearby to take advantage of family time. We may have had black and white photos, but you can find colourful memories in these photos. We are a unique and the most understanding generation because we are the last generation that listened to their parents. And we are also the first ones who were forced to listen to their children. We are a limited edition. So take advantage of us, learn from us. We are a treasure destined to disappear soon. So that's one angle. And I just want to read you this other one. I look at when I was a kiddywink and life was go, go, go. I mean, if you've ever spent over 3 hours with a kid, you will know it's exhausting, hectic, and there's absolutely no chill. Our adult lives can be similar to this, just on a different, less exciting scale. Different activities, different worries, different dramas. At the time, just like now, somebody older, wiser, and degrading will always give you the groundbreaking advice of this won't matter in 5 years' time. You would almost roll your eyes because at that point in time, it did matter that you weren't invited to Francesca's fairy party. And it did matter that you didn't get the OP you had studied the last year and a half for. It's only natural to worry and care over the things that are firsthand affecting you at that point in time. So of course you can pay close attention to it. However, as a kiddywink, I can never remember myself getting stressed. I suppose because your deadlines as a child were getting the Monday maths column of homework done for the afternoon so that you could play in the cubby house, making soup out of apple and rice crackers until dinner time. Then the next deadline would be to eat all of your broccoli before receiving a treat out of the treaty jar, which was the single gummy bear, by the way, and was possibly the most exciting, rewarding experience centered in the kitchen. The most amazing thing about children is that they're constantly living in the present. Pancakes for breakfast? Thanks, Mum, you're the best. No second thought of, oh, I need to be healthy today, or are they gluten-free? Want to go trick-or-treating with the kids down the road this afternoon? Quickly race to the dress-up box with absolutely no hesitation. There's no planning, no anxiety about whether you know the kids from down the road well enough, or whether they will like your costume, because of course they will. Your costume is obviously the best. Everything is spontaneous and done with limited thought, not because you are so in touch with your gut feelings and emotions, but because you don't even have to deal with that sensitivity yet. Because why would you ever say no to pancakes or trick-or-treating? As we get older, we begin to start saying no to things. We start to overthink the situation, the people, our mood, our money, what we have to get done the next day, whether we will make it to the gym or not, who is going to be there, who isn't going to be there, this, that, this. So at the end of the day or decision, we would rather sit on the couch by ourselves, smashing chocolate ice cream and watching The Bachelor. When I look back on the things I have said no to, am I on my deathbed regretting them? No. Am I even on my deathbed? However, I do notice once I begin saying yes to things, life seems to fall into place. How are things and moments ever going to happen if we keep living like an adult, comfortable, fixed, overwhelmed, and only living for the weekend. Once you begin saying yes, you not only immerse yourself in new situations, new comfort zones, and new circles of friends. However, you begin to really be taking life for what it is, an absolute theme park. Would you go to a theme park and continue to ride on the same roller coaster? Or would you rather try the Whitewater Rapids, the Tower of Terror, the bumper cars, and the Wild West Falls? It's so easy to stay comfortable because we aren't kids anymore. We aren't as curious. We have our friends, our favourite coffee shop, our Friday night pizza on the couch, and our Saturday beers with the boys. But once we begin saying yes to a random date on a Thursday night with a stranger you can't remember the name or face of, or stopping and chatting to the random old man at the gym, despite wanting to get the hell out of there, the minute your class ends, life becomes exciting and lively. So try looking at things through the eyes of a child. There is more magic in the world through their eyes, because there are far more wonders in the world than just 7. So I'm now going to take you into our healing segment, and Sandra's chosen one of my favourite songs by Elton John, Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Also from one of my favourite movies, The Lion King. But the title of the song, Can You Feel the Love Tonight? How many of us can truly say we can feel the love of people? How natural is it? When you show or express love to someone, it's not a forced behaviour. It's natural. It's a natural process. You naturally feel that love to someone, as well as someone can actually feel that love oozing from you. And that is the same as healing. When we sit and give the healing power, as we're going to do shortly, it shouldn't be a forced thing. It should be natural. We're just going to sit. You can listen to the music with your eyes closed, or you can watch the song play. It's entirely your choice. But we're going to be as natural as feeling the love. So we're going to sit and we're going to send out that loving thought and that healing vibe, and it's done as naturally as that. So let's sit back and enjoy.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to bring you an address. Something that may make you think, something that make you question, or maybe something that may make you laugh in places. Hopefully I'll be able to share some experiences that you may be able to relate to in some shape, way or form. And I'm also wondering why Sandra picked me to do the address. There may be something in there, you know. But it's a great privilege to be able to speak and maybe help you along that journey. And as Sandra said at the start, remind ourselves of where that child is within us. Little things that we used to do as we grew up, we soon lose sight of, and we start to become a different person. So actually, it's a great joy to be able to do this. And even before I begin, I have to mention this. And it was Sandra that brought this memory back right at the beginning, where we went to Disney, and how I met somebody, or I thought I knew somebody called Mr. Darren Wynn. Well, I got to see and hear his scream on a roller coaster. And at first I thought it was Kerry. So I turned round and Kerry's eyes were shut and you could see the white knuckles. And I thought, it's not Kerry. And as I peered around further, it was Darren. And I must admit, I saw a child in his eyes, because as soon as he got off that roller coaster, him and Kerry run to the front and they were on again. So thank you for bringing that memory back to me, Sandra. But it is a privilege, like I said, but I have to start off where Sandra mentioned. Have you noticed at a certain age you stop playing and you become attuned to your responsibility? When did that happen to us? When did the pressure of things getting done take over? If you have the opportunity to watch a child or be around a child or interact with a child, just like Sandra did at that festival, that fair today, earlier on, just take notice of their authenticity, their vulnerability, the laughters, the tears of joy. Absolutely, because they indulge themselves in that play. They indulge themselves in that moment. They have both feet in. It's not one foot in and the other one's half out the door. And if you've got children, maybe you'll remember these words. I'll do it for a minute, but I've got work to do. Or I've got this, but I've got something else to do later. When did we lose that child, that inner child? If we look at children that have both feet in, they're in that moment. They're living in that moment. Nothing else matters. Nothing else is more important than that moment. And I wonder, have we lost that insight? Have we lost that inner joy? Often it takes a child to remind us who we are and what we love. And it's that understanding that we need to really have. In fact, I'm going to ask you a question. When did you last dance? When did you have that moment of joy? Was it the Funky Chicken, perhaps? When was the last time that you sung out loud and in public? When was the last time you played in the woods where you weren't fearing the big bad wolf, whatever fear you have? You see, ladies and gentlemen, we've lost, or may have lost, that passion of life. We may have lost those really important times that we share, that quality time with ourselves, with our families, with our mums, with our dads, with our children, maybe just with friends, sharing experiences, sharing moments of joy, tears maybe, a sense of where your heart is on the sleeve. Because if you look at a child, they're in that moment. Everything about them's there to see. They wear that heart on the sleeve. You can see the joy in the face, their interactions when they look up at you, when they ask you a question, just as that young girl did with Sandra. Because I'm sure the little girl in Sandra came alive. She began to smile. And I bet if we all were there, we would have seen the real joy and life in Sandra's eyes. You know, we're all caught up in trying to be or have that perfect life, looking and striving and trying. Maybe we need to take a lesson from those children and be natural and embrace the moment and not have a care in the world. Because if we think about that just for a second, when we're in that midst of life and when we're caught up in those dramas, we fear what other people might think. We fear the outcome. But yet when we get through it, we often say, in time, you can look back and you'll laugh. You'll laugh at these moments because it's these moments that teach us. Well, why do we have to wait till afterwards? Why can we not embrace in that moment that inner child to actually enlighten or lighten our troubles? Because it's funny, isn't it, to look through the child's eyes or have that perception and also connect it to enlightenment. Because actually with enlightenment, when we talk about wisdom, knowledge, those rare abilities that we're all seeking for. But actually, did you know that enlightenment meant to lighten the load? So actually, if we find that in a child, we're becoming enlightened. So why not laugh? Why not enjoy ourselves? Why not be, as those children are, authentic? Why not be vulnerable? Why not just have fun? And some of you may argue with me and say, well, actually, we've got responsibilities. We've got to provide. We've got to do this. Well, yes, we have. But there's no rule written that says we must be serious all the time. There's no rule that says that we can't have fun. We know within the classes, myself and Kerry, Sandra and Darren and Scott teach, we're serious, we're dedicated. We want to get you the best education we can, but we also know something else. We know that you learn through experience. We know that you need to see it. We know you need to understand it and see it on the board or talk it or experience it. Well, those things you can see, hear and touch, but there's one thing that leaves a lasting impression: how you feel. It's in that moment of knowing that somebody's made you feel special. And it doesn't have to be somebody else. It can be that inner child. Where in a moment you've seen something that's funny. You've seen something that's reminded you of a past experience, just like Sandra did before when she reminded me of Disney and Darren giving it, as he's going down the roller coaster. That doesn't even do it justice, believe you me. I thought it was a little girl behind me, but it wasn't, it was Darren. And I must admit, when we hear somebody scream or when somebody laughs, it affects us. So just close your eyes for a second and imagine a child, very young child, a baby laughing. That baby's got a belly laugh. You know the one I'm talking about, the one that's making you smile right now, the one that's making you chuckle right now. Well, Darren's scream and laughter and the odd choice word that came out of his mouth actually has that effect. It made me smile, even remembering it right now. So as children, we have to embrace moments. We have to embrace life, not caring what other people think or feel, because I know Darren didn't, I know Kerry didn't, I know Sandra didn't. I know me and Scott, when we're going up a vertical ride for 13 seconds, listening to Gloria Gaynor, We Will Survive. It was ironic, it was funny. It's a moment that we listen to and remember, and we rejoice within. So these memories that we share really help and inspire. Now, I want to share with you a few moments that you might have experienced in your life, as we're talking about through the eyes of children. Well, I've got 3. I've been blessed. I have a daughter, Bethany, who's 22 now. I've got Lucas, who turns 15 tomorrow, and he's got his older brother, who's 17 and at college. But do you think when they were younger, they thought before they spoke? Yes, you know where I'm going. I remember grocery shopping with my oldest now, but was youngest at the time, my daughter. And as I picked some groceries up, my daughter turned to a lady at the side of her and said, if you eat those, you know they're going to make you fart. And I had to do a quick check. I thought, is she talking to me? And in my horror, she's speaking to this lady at the side of me. This lady looked so serious that I thought, oh no. And I was about to apologize when the seriousness melted away and she started to laugh. And as she started to laugh, I started to laugh, my daughter started to laugh, and everybody in the aisle started to laugh that had heard it. And actually, from those moments, it wasn't just of me of shame, of, oh my God, what do I say? Do I apologize? We shared a moment. We connected all those people through a moment of joy. My daughter, through her words, innocent words, not meaning to cause offense, didn't know any better, actually helped us understand that there's more to life than being serious, than just running around a store, that actually we can savor each moment. And all of us shared her humor. Not that she did it on purpose to be funny, but it was just a moment we shared, we lived, we experienced, we connected with honesty, vulnerability, and fun. So as you can probably see, we all have different types of humors. We all have different things that tickle us. My son's no exception. You know, those parties that you used to take your children to, or you took one of your grandchildren to, because my youngest son, Lucas, no exception from my daughter. What he said on this particular occasion wasn't something rude or embarrassing, not for anybody else but me. Because you all have seen those children, haven't you? Running around the party with their arms out going, meow, meow, and everything else. And they're having fun, they're innocent. And I engaged with my son, not doing all the playings, but said, son, what playing are you? And he goes, Dad, stop being silly. I'm just a boy running around with my arms out. And all of a sudden, the room went quiet, deadly silence. Then everyone started to laugh. My son had developed a sense of humor, a wit, a sarcasm. It was just funny, it was intelligent, but didn't have to be there to experience it. But it was just a sense that he hadn't lost his innocence. He was still running about. He still had a mindset, but yet he could still be his true, authentic self. And it's funny when we have all these silly moments where we have all these laughters, it reminds us. But one thing I will take away from that day is how my son reminded me to be in the moment. My son reminded me to laugh, because I was there on my own, taking my son. And for all those fathers or all those mothers that are out there taking a child to a party and not knowing the other parents, we can feel a little bit awkward. Well, he broke the silence. So through the eyes of a youngster, through the eyes of what they see and perceive, can break these silences, can teach us lessons, can help us understand, because that sense of humor touched everyone. No more person than me, myself, understanding that a simple joy through a child's eyes can be enlightening, can be touching, can be uplifting. There was no fear, there was no worry, there was no shame from him. Yes, some of us, as we get older, may lose that truth because we're meant to be mature, we're meant to be responsible adults, whatever a responsible adult is meant to be. It's these times that we remember to interact, that we remember to be the person that we are, sing from the heart, dance from the heart, speak from the heart. Actually, just being truthful is funny enough. Allowing yourself to engage in life and finding simple things funny, or interacting, having those moments, can actually take a lot of stress away from us. Because do we not learn from our mistakes? Do we not grow from those growing pains? Do we not get taller in stature? Do we not teach our children that through play, right and wrong? Do we not teach them to count numbers or use numbers through play, through fun? And I'm sure that it isn't the exercise they remember. I'm sure it's the feeling they have when they're having fun that helps us embrace the moment. It's just understanding that what we need to do. Now, I know that we've all got friends that go that little bit too far. We've all got friends that might do things we go, oh my word, but we find them funny. But we say to ourselves, I would never do that. Oh God, they were so close to the knuckle. All these moments. Well, I'm going to share one with you where I wish the ground would have swallowed me up. I wished that I wouldn't been seen. I wished I wasn't there in the first moment. Because I have a wonderful colleague and friend that sometimes I used to work with many years ago. I'm going to change his name just in case he's listening, because he'd be horrified what I'm about to do. And I told Kerry this morning, she said, you can't do that. You're on telly. And I said, not on telly, we're on a computer screen. And she said, you still can't do it. You'll offend everybody. And I said, do you think I'm daft enough to actually make the signal with my hand or any of my fingers? Okay. And I know, and yes, Sandra's going, oh, don't do that. Okay, I'm not. But actually, we were going to do a demonstration together. And in a demonstration, we may hear a song and go straight into the clairvoyance. But my friend said, I feel I want to do a talk beforehand. Is it okay to do that, Phil? And I said, yeah, because I knew my friend. He was one of those people that you never know what he's going to do. He could make people laugh. He could be close to the knuckle, but people loved him for it. People knew him for it. And I thought, okay, I'll trust him. And on this particular day, he started off talking, but he started to remind us all of his life. And this particular friend had a wife that's quite ill, and everything he did was for his wife. He was devoted. He still is devoted. But life became serious, and it was through his children that he started to regain his life by their lessons of how they acted. And he was out one day with one of his children in the car taking a drive. And this peculiar person that didn't particularly like this person gave him a particular wave. So as he was telling everyone about this wave, and it involved just one finger on one hand, as my friend lifted his hand like that, I saw him and I cringed. I had the same reaction as I told Kerry. It was like, oh my God, he's in front of 100 and odd people. Why is he giving them the middle finger? I'm thinking to myself, and I could feel my body, everything shrink down, my head go into my hands and think, oh no. Then I heard something that I wasn't expecting, laughter. Laughter that was getting louder and louder and louder. And as I dared to peek up through my fingers to see if it was true, I was hearing things, I saw people in front of me laughing and laughing and laughing. And I looked at my friend, and he has got the same colour eyes as Sandra. And you see the same thing as in Sandra's eyes, life. They were sparkling, they were twinkling. He was enjoying himself. Up went the other hand with another signal and said, well, I know what this one means, but I wasn't sure about this one. But my son explained it to me. And the laughter just went up and up and up. But I was sat in the corner feeling a little bit embarrassed, a little bit ashamed, a little bit, swallow me up, let me go home. But actually, as I started to relax, I remembered there was an elderly lady sat on the front row in front of me. And I thought, oh, and I looked. I didn't see an elderly lady. I saw a child laughing. He turned an elderly lady into a young child laughing. And I remember her words still ringing in my ears right now. I'm laughing so hard, I'm crying. My friend said, I can't see any tears. He says, you won't, they're under my clothes. He said, oh, we've got a bucket and a mop in the background for this sort of thing. He's just in the moment, loving it. And that ended everybody. Everyone was laughing, everyone was crying. It learnt me a great deal in that moment, However old we are, however serious we think we can have a moment of childishness, childlike behavior, simple things that our children teach us. We can have moments of pure joy if we accept them, if we embrace them, if we live within them. He is known for being that way. He embraces life. He's been serious, he's lost, he's loved, and still living. So, ladies and gentlemen, it can be a moment where we question ourselves and say, where is our inner child gone? Where has our child's gaze gone? Where's that world that we lived in as a child that formed us into who we are right now? Because they've not gone anywhere. They're still inside, wanting to come out. Now, it's no secret to anyone. I've got a sense of humor. In the classes, I like to tease people and make people laugh. I say to people, come here, I'm going to tell you a secret. Lean in a little bit closer. And there's always one that leans in. Or sometimes I use the camera and zoom in to them. It's these moments that make us feel special. It's these moments that make us feel good. Like I said earlier, there's no rules in life to say we need to be serious all the time. Yes, there's moments we need to, but there's different ways of being. There's different ways that we can enjoy life. There's different moments we can engage with. There's different people out there that we can have conversations with. Life is what we make it. I remember my mother telling me that, Philip, your life is what you can make it. And I never really got it until I had children, until they reminded me of how things can be. So looking at life through a child's eyes, living life through those childish natures that we have is enlightenment, because it's lightening our load. It's making our days more special. It's making us smile. It's making us enjoy things. It's making us feel good, not through buying things, not by spoiling others, not by praising, no egotistical form whatsoever, but pure, unadulterated joy. Joy that we can find in any single thing. Joy that we can share with others because it's tickled us. It's tickled something within our hearts that we can tickle other people with. These are the moments we need to remember, especially those serious moments, that we can lead by example by giving somebody else a simple memory, feeling, smile, joy, laughter, because that's what they'll remember you for, is how they made you feel. And I'm going to leave you those thoughts and hand you back over to Sandra.
Oh, thank you so much, Phil. I had to pick you for the address because I know that inner child, and I get to see you before you start your classes. And wonderful. And Darren, thanks for the reminder of all that you said. I mean, to see a little kid worried about, is this gluten-free? You know, it just would never happen. So we're going to move on to our demonstration of mediumship. We'll have Carrie come on. But I thought of something as Phil was talking. I don't remember what the term is, but there's some big long word for when human beings can take something that's a really big deal and turn it into no big deal. You know, I mean, you think of some of the greatest things in your life and the greatest times, and our brain has a sneaky way of just thinking, no big deal. You know, let's worry about the future or feel guilty about the past. And so I was just thinking, if I had a little kid next to me right now who's never seen a computer, they'd be like, oh my God, look, I see Phil. He's right there. And there's Darren, you know, looking behind the computer to see if he's there and trying to figure it out. You know, I mean, it'd be a really big deal. We're just used to it, aren't we? Now, here's another thing that we're used to. We're used to having medium demonstrations. Many of us are anyways, if you've been coming 123 weeks. But it's a really big deal that Carrie and Phil are mediums, and I know many people are also in our community, and that people that no longer walk this earth are talking to them, and they can come through here, and we can know the bigger picture that life after death is real and that we're going to see our loved ones again. It's a big deal. So the little kid that would be witnessing this for the first time, and maybe a grandmother or grandfather would come through, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. So if this is your first time with us for our mediumship demonstration, I'm going to tell you how this goes. Everybody else just listen like it's the first time you've heard it. Carrie will be on in just a moment after we hear a peppy song. And the folks in the spirit world are very real, very, very real. And they have already choreographed our time together. They know who's going to speak. There will be different people that will take turns putting thoughts and images and feelings inside of Carrie, and she will do her very best to let us know the information they are giving her. So what you'll hear in the beginning is usually a few initial pieces of information about the person that is with her. So we want you to listen in, that little kid in you, listen in, and if you can recognize the person that she is talking about, we want you to press your raise hand button. Now, this is the time I ask you to look on your device, find that raise hand button, press it just to see what happens. And when I say someone you know, it's somebody who no longer walks on this earth, okay? So they no longer walk on this earth. Could be a friend, could be a family member, could be somebody a little distant or somebody from the past. So please don't hesitate in pressing your raise hand button. We do ask that you understand 100% of the information. If it's not quite there, let Carrie do the work to see what else she needs to say. Now, little kids do not have fear of raising their hand, do they? They don't have this feeling like, oh, it's got to be somebody else. You know, I think Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. No, they don't. They'd be quick to raise their hand. They'd be quick to unmute themselves and hear the voice. So when we distinguish who this person is here for, we'll ask you to press an unmute button. Now, you can't see that right now because it takes me working my magic on this side. So if you're someone who works with Carrie, your job is really simple. All we need from you is one of 3 different responses. As she gives information about this person in the afterlife, just say yes, no, or I don't know. Now, she's got big shoulders. Don't worry about it. If the information doesn't sound quite right, you can give her a no. All right. We do ask that you don't volunteer any information about your loved one. Okay. We want everybody to know for sure that it's folks from the spirit world coming through, that it wasn't you who gave the information about the loved one. So just yes, no, or I don't know. And that's pretty much it. Now, there'll only be a handful of people, as happens on our Sunday gatherings, that will get a message or loved one come through. But these people come through representing all of our loved ones, because I tell you what, if we could imagine them all in one room, it would be packed. While there might be over 100 of us, there could be thousands of them working together. All right, so they're all here, and it's always good to listen to the messages too, because you think, boy, I could use a little of that myself. All right, so I'm going to play a song. It's the Ukraine Children's Choir that's going to sing it, but I do know it's one of Carrie and Phil's favorite songs. But we needed to see some real children, live children today. So here we are with Come Alive. Oh, I love those kids. I do. Hi, Carrie.
Hello, what fantastic choice of music. Perfect for your theme. It's been a beautiful experience to listen to everybody talk, for you to introduce it, Sandra, for Darren's reading, and to hear Phil talk about his experiences. And yes, when he told me this morning what he was going to be talking about, the adult in me did cringe a little bit. But I know that all of you would have been able to, especially with the little lady down the front, we can all have an idea what that would feel like to be there. So thank you very much. And thanks for the songs, Sandra. I've been able to sing to every single one of them. And it is that kid within. And to be honest, to work with the spirit world brings that kid within us alive, because we get engrossed in that feeling and that sense of the spirit world. So to feel that child within, that soulful spiritual place within, happens every single time somebody like myself or Phil, or maybe you, when you work with the spirit world in whichever way, you feel that joy within. So thank you very much, Sandra. And I actually feel, as I begin working here, that I do have somebody's son here, but I don't feel, although he would have been your child, I do feel he got to an adult age. I do get a sense that there was a quick passing for him, but I know that there's a sense within him of always having this ability to turn an awkward situation into a very funny situation. So I know his passing is incredibly quick. I know his passing could not have been foreseen. I actually feel in some way it was a bit, I was going to say obscure, but I actually feel it was just a freak accident. But this sense of humor, you'd be able to know your son as an adult of having this ability to turn something fairly awkward into funny situation.
Thank you very much, Carrie. All right, ladies and gentlemen, who can understand this information? Carrie, we have two lovely ladies with their hands raised. Please.
And both of them know that their son got into adulthood. We're not talking a young child. We're talking he got into adulthood. I do feel like he would have been a grown-up man when he passed.
Thank you very much. All right, we have 5 folks with their hands raised that have confirmed yes.
I want to say there is this quickness about him, but I actually feel he would have been out for the day. I don't feel like it would have been in a car. I certainly don't feel like it's on a motorbike. I feel like he went out for the day and a freak accident happened. I don't feel road traffic accident, and I don't feel in any way that this was his responsibility.
Okay, I'm going to lower everyone's hands. If you can take 100% of that information, please raise your hand. There were just quite a number of hands up, so I want to make sure everyone can take all of it. Okay. Yes, we have 4 ladies with their hands raised.
Okay, and one of the 4 know that their son would have enjoyed going golfing.
That is specific. All right. We've got a couple hands that have gone down. We have Linda and Allison. Oh, we're down to Linda. So we will bring Linda in. You ladies just keep listening in. Linda, you can find your unmute button and press it. Hi, Linda.
Hello.
Welcome. Hi, Linda. You can understand everything I've said?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And with your son, I do feel like he had this real mischievousness about him.
Yes.
Because I know that it is an incredibly difficult thing to lose a person to the spirit world, and an incredibly difficult thing to feel like we've lost a child to the spirit world. But he's having none of that sadness and none of that acknowledging that loss, because he is here in 4D almost with his mischievousness and his sense of humor. I need to say, Linda, you must have had quite a few, just as Phil talked about his children being younger, you must have quite a few memories of your son where you do what I do, roll your eyes out loud.
Yes.
And I actually feel that at family gatherings, there must have been a number of times where you had to hold back from saying things out loud.
Yes, yes.
And Linda, would you know your son left behind a family?
Yes.
Because I do feel like nobody would have escaped this. You understand that nobody escaped his teasing?
Yes.
And I need to say, Linda, when he was dating his partner, you would know that he would have done things in your company that helped you and his partner feel connected through his humor.
Yes.
Because I know it was his way of bringing people together. I know there must also be memories, Linda, of, okay, I know there must be memories since his passing where you have watched a video of him playing the fool or him having a laugh.
No.
No. If that's not right then, Linda, you must have seen photographs of when he was, but then your mind must have gone into full video act and been able to remember the situation.
Yes, yes.
So I know he's showing me this almost as if it's a video, but if it isn't that, I know you had very, very vivid recollection of the whole scenario.
Yes, photographs.
I know that there's a sense with your son as well of you would know where him and his dad wouldn't always see eye to eye.
Yes.
And I know your son in some way knows that he pushed it a little bit too far at times.
Yeah.
But I also know, but his dad is still walking this earth, Linda.
No.
Okay, then I need to say, Linda, that there is a sense of him I need to say that there's a sense of your son wanting to acknowledge after his passing, you and his dad having a conversation.
Yeah. Not sure what to say here because.
Oh, okay.
But yes, but no.
Yes, but no. Okay, because I get the sense of your son giving me the impression that they're very similar.
Yes.
Your son and his dad are very similar, and I get the sense, and there's no way I can evidentially prove this, but I get the sense that they are okay.
Good.
That they have mended any misunderstandings there, and I do feel there would have been misunderstandings. But I also know, Linda, with you, your son must have been very, very protective towards you.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Because I know you've told me that his dad's in the spirit world, but there must have been times, Linda, where you and his dad didn't see eye to eye.
Yes.
And I know that your son would have felt that you were in the right.
Yes.
Because I feel your son incredibly protective of you in those moments.
Yes.
And I know from the feeling I get from your son, Linda, that he is not letting his dad off the hook just as easy as that. But I know it's tinged with his humor as well.
Yes. Yeah.
But I get the sense, Linda, that you must have very recently been talking about situations with your son where he just took things to the edge of being acceptable.
Yes. Yeah.
Because your son has seen somebody else here still walking this earth behaving in a similar fashion.
Yeah.
And he wants to acknowledge that from where he is, he sees what you're seeing.
Okay.
And he wants to acknowledge that. Linda, you would know this to be your grandson.
Yes.
Oh, because I know he's from the spirit world, he's keeping an eye out. He isn't anywhere. I know he's keeping an eye out for his children. I know he's keeping an eye out for the rest of the family. I also know, just as I draw this to a close, Linda, you would appreciate your son sending healing to somebody here close to your son.
Yes.
This is your son's way of saying, don't worry, Mom, I am nowhere other than where I need to be. Wherever you think I would be, that's where I am. I'm doing everything I can to be with those that need me, even when they don't think they need me.
Brilliant. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to do that for you, Linda.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you, Carrie.
Okay. I do get a sense that it's going to be a moment for the children, because I know we're talking about seeing life through the children's eyes, and that includes us adults as well. But I do actually feel I have daughter here, and I do feel that daughter, I do feel two lovely ladies working with me. I know that one is daughter and I know that one is sister. And I know that sister passes with a cancerous condition, but I know that daughter has this vibrancy of life as well. It's going to be the theme of the day, this vibrancy of life. but I know in some way daughter she's holding responsibility for her own passing. I know there is a sense with your daughter that she pulled away from you. In the days leading up to her passing, she pulled away from you. And I know that there is this sense of not sharing at all. Would this make sense?
Thank you, Carrie. All right, friends, if you can understand these ladies in the spirit world, please press your raise hand button. We have Lisa coming in. Lisa, if you can unmute yourself. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Sandra. I can only understand the daughter, not the sister.
Okay. And there's nobody else understands this information, Sandra?
Correct. Nobody else.
Okay. I know I have two ladies with me. I know that I feel one is daughter. Would this, thanks for putting your hand up, Lisa, but I'm just going to work with the evidence a little bit more. I'm going to work with these lovely ladies a bit more. Would one of you understand mother in the spirit world that would have had a cancerous condition, and daughter in the spirit world that feels like she has taken responsibility for her own passing in some way?
Thank you, Carrie. So instead of mother, instead of sister, mother in the spirit world.
Yes.
Okay.
But I definitely have daughter as well.
Okay.
Lisa,
you still
I have grandmother with a cancerous condition, but not mother.
Okay.
But very, very close.
We're going to see. I can't tell just now because Sandra will be able to let me know if we've got hands up.
Yes, we have, including Lisa, 4 hands up.
Okay. And all of them understand daughter in the spirit world and mother.
All right.
And with this cancerous condition, with the cancerous condition, I know I'm in the upper, so I actually feel it would be breast cancer with mum. And with daughter, I actually feel like I have to put it that she pulls away in the days before her passing.
Okay, I'm going to lower everyone's hands just in case someone has them up accidentally. If you can take 100% of that information, if you could go ahead and raise your hand again, please. Well, okay, we got Lisa and we've got Jeff.
Okay. So Lisa, do you understand daughter in the spirit world?
I understand mom and my sister in the spirit world.
Okay. No, I definitely have daughter. I can't change that information. I definitely have daughter and mum. No, thanks,
No
Lisa.
problem. And we had Jeff. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Jeff. You understand everything I've said?
It would be my mom and her mom, so my grandma.
No, I definitely have daughter and what feels like mum.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Okay, and thank you everyone for your patience. So Martina, Fran, and Michelle all recently just raised their hands.
Okay, to say I've gone around about the houses, I would need it to be daughter and mum. So with the people that have their hands up, they would understand the sense of daughter and her taking responsibility for her own life.
Okay,
Is there somebody that's had their hand up all the way through, Sandra?
They're both about the same. We have Martina and Fran. Okay. Would you like to hear their voices?
If you bring them in and we'll just check.
Yeah, thank you. If you ladies could unmute yourself. Hi, Martina.
Hi, Carrie. Hi, Sandra. I do have a daughter in the spirit world who took her own life, and I have mother-in-law in the spirit world.
Okay, and she would have had cancer?
She had breathing problems, but I
Okay.
don't think it was cancer that she
Okay,
passed
2
on with.
seconds, Martina. Just let me work with this for a second. And Fran, you can understand daughter in the spirit world and mother in the spirit world as well.
Yes,
And you would understand that daughter takes responsibility for her own passing.
I think so.
You understand that your daughter would have taken responsibility in some way for her passing. It
Yes,
wasn't an accident.
yes,
Okay. And you understand your mum had breast cancer.
yes.
Okay. Sandra, I'm going to work with Fran just now, but if Martina can stay there for the moment, that would be lovely. Thank you. Fran, with your daughter, you understand in the days before her passing, she withdrew from people.
I'm not sure.
Would you understand with your daughter that she switched off speaking to people?
No,
Okay. You would know with your daughter that you didn't have contact with her then before she passed.
the day before I did.
Okay. I'm going to Fran, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm absolutely within my heart of hearts need to get this to the right person. Martina, can I work with you for a second, please?
Of course.
Martina, you would understand this about your daughter, about her pulling away in the days before she passed.
Yes, I do.
No. And you would also know with your daughter that she had this sense of being incredibly private about all of her life.
Yes, very much so.
Okay, and I know, Fran, just hang on a second because I know I'm with Martina at this moment. I know that your daughter gives me this sense of needing to express an explanation to you because you must be feeling like I don't understand what went on.
Yes.
I get this feeling from her that she was so caught up in her own mindset. But you must also have heard from some of her friends about things that you didn't know at that time about your daughter.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And I know there can be tittle tattle and everybody has stories that they want to tell. Some of it you believe to be true. And I know she gives me the impression that some of it you know is not true.
Yeah, yes, that's correct.
Okay, because I know your daughter is in agreement with you. I know she's giving you the thumbs up as in you are correct, Mum. There are some things I kept from you that I should have spoken to you about, but there's other things you just disregard that. You don't need to listen to that. But I know she must have given you at some point, Martina, a gift or something that said how much she loved you and how good a mum you were.
Yes, that's true. I still have it.
I was going to say you still have that, but you must have it in a place, Martina, that you see regularly.
Every morning.
Okay, because I know she still knows that you feel you are the best mum, and that is her, wherever you've got it, within sight of wherever you have that, Martina. I know she draws my attention to a photograph of her being in that vicinity.
There's no photograph. There are photographs in another place, but the gift you're speaking of, I see it every morning.
Then there must be on your journey of getting up there this routine you have of looking at this gift and seeing her photographs. I need to say as well, Martina, if you were to think, so today's the 31st of July, today must be significant for your daughter and you.
Because a year ago I had a message from her, from you, Carrie, a year ago.
Oh, okay. I have to be honest, I'm not sure of what I've said and when, but I know that she wants, there's a reason that it had to be today. But I also know with your daughter, you've got some things of hers still in a closet.
Oh, yes, I do.
And in that closet, you must have gone through and organized it in order of color.
Oh my gosh, yes, I did.
And you must take, because she's give me the sense of organizing it by color. But if you go into a box, you must also have her little shoes and her little knickknacks from being a baby.
There are, but they're not hers.
Then if they're not hers, then this is your daughter's way of saying she sees what you are doing and she sees what's happened, because she shows me these little ditty shoes and everything in a box. I want to acknowledge, Martina, that although your daughter takes responsibility in some way for her passing, there is nothing that could have made her situation any different that you controlled.
Thank you.
It's incredibly important you know that. I need to also, on behalf of your mum, you would have had times where you didn't always agree with your mum.
This was my mother-in-law.
Oh, your mother-in-law. Then you must have had times when you didn't always agree with your mother-in-law.
That's correct.
Because I know with your mother-in-law, her accent, I know you have an accent and I can't place it, Martina, but your mother-in-law must have had quite a strong accent as well.
Yes.
And she must have spoken very, very quickly and very forcefully.
Yes.
And she would have had a way of saying things that just got to the point within a millisecond and left everybody else a bit aghast at what just been said.
Yes, she had a very strong personality.
And I know with your mother-in-law that it's almost as if she put you through the ringer in order to see whether you were worthy of being her daughter-in-law.
Yes.
And she tested you. But I do know you and her came to love one another and accept one another.
Yes, very much so.
And I know in the spirit world, your mother-in-law and your daughter, they're actually very similar. They're very similar in character, because I know your daughter gave me the sense of feeling withdrawn, but I do know she was able to say what she needed to say in a way that could cut to the quick as well.
Oh, yes.
And I know your daughter would have at times said things she didn't always mean to you.
That is accurate.
Please know that if she could take it back, which she can, because she's in the spirit world and she has that right, she wants to take back the things that you know she said in anger.
Oh, thank you. That helps.
And none of that is the reason she did what she did. None of it is the reason.
Thank you, Carrie.
And I also know your mother-in-law gave your daughter an ear bashing when she got to the spirit world, only because that's what your mother-in-law would do anyway.
Yes.
Not because of any other reason. But please know this is your daughter's way of reaching out to you and letting you know that there is absolutely nothing that could have been done different with you. And when you see this little gift that she gives you, she means every single part of it. There is actually another little gift she gave you, not with words on, but there's a little childish gift of an animal or a little childish gift that she gave you.
She's given me a lot of stuff, so she was an artist.
It was a little, it must be a little bird or a duck or a little ditty thing that she's made or given you. When you find that, please know that this is her way of reaching out to you. But thank you for allowing me to do that, Martina, and take the love of, well, your mother-in-law and your daughter.
Thank you so much, Carrie. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Martina. Thank you, Carrie.
Okay, I do feel I have Mum here, and I know that I asked was it Fran that I asked to hang on? Fran, would you have Mum in the spirit world? Because just as I would change there, I saw your name flash in my mind.
Yes.
Okay, and you also have daughter in the spirit world?
Yes.
But your mum, Fran, your mum would have been different to my previous mother-in-law. Your mum was able to think about how she was going to say things.
Yes.
Your mum was very measured as well and very organized in the way she did things.
Yes.
Because I know if she wanted to deliver some sad news, she'd think about it in advance and choose her moments.
I think so.
And I know with you, Fran, your mum would have not always agreed with some of the life decisions that you made.
Yes.
And she would have chosen her words as to how to deliver that to you.
Yes.
I know too, your mum must have had comments to make about the decisions you made around about having a family and what you chose was right for your family.
I don't know.
Then would you know where, I know your mum gives me this feeling of having cast an opinion about the life choices you made, because I know she wants to apologize and pull that back. So you would know where she cast an aspersion upon a decision that you made.
No.
Then would your mum have been very opinionated though?
A bit.
And opinionated in the way that morals and ethics had to come first, and she was very much about doing things by the rule book.
Yes.
Okay, and then I know you have daughter in the spirit world, but I want to say that your daughter must have been a little bit of a rebel.
Yes.
Because I know your mum, if it's not you, I know, and she's not casting this now, but you could have imagined what your mum would have thought about some of the things your daughter did.
Maybe.
And I know your mum is here with your daughter, but I know you and your daughter must have had differences of opinion as well.
Yes.
And I know your daughter would have had comments about the life choices you made and vice versa.
Maybe, yes.
Because with this, I feel this not being able to really say what I want to say. I feel and so much emotion with your daughter that she wouldn't have always found the right words to say what she wanted to.
Yes.
And I feel like her emotions would have got the better of her at times.
Yes.
There would have been times, Fran, in her younger years as well, where she would have gone off for periods of time.
Yes.
And I feel like this was her way of trying to get the message home. But she know that if you do it too many times, nobody takes you seriously.
Okay.
I feel like she cried wolf quite a number of times by her own admission.
Hmm.
And I know with your daughter, there's an incredible appreciation for what you did from the spirit world. She sees the things you gave up for her in good heart and good faith and willingly.
I hope so.
This is her way of saying, I see what you did for me, Mom. I see what you did. I understand what you gave up. I now understand why you might have been so frustrated. She couldn't see it. There's not that ability within her to see that. But I also know with your daughter that, similar to what I said before, your daughter must have got mixed up with the wrong people.
No.
Then you must have had a judgment that at some point your daughter's passing was done because of a decision she made.
Possibly.
Because it feels like she's acknowledging that she made a few wrong choices that got her to the mindset she had.
Okay.
And if she'd listened to people closer to her, she might have got to a different position, but she wasn't in that place to hear anything.
Okay.
And it's again taking that responsibility off others and putting it on herself.
Oh, okay.
It's incredibly important that you recognize that she wants to own where she was in her own life.
Okay.
Do you understand that, Fran?
I think so.
Please know that this is your mum and your daughter's way of relaying to you that they are not far away, that they are with you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Fran.
That's very comforting. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Fran. Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you.
I do feel I have Dad here, and I do feel that Dad is going to be in and out before I get time to really expand it, because that would be his nature. He's a whirlwind. He's very much about get the job done, get in there and get out. I know too that he would have had an incredible sense of humor that would have got him in trouble at times, because as Phil was talking about the sense of humor, I know he's here, and I do know he would have had a sense of humor that would be a little bit blue. And I do feel what took him to the spirit world would have been either prostate cancer or something of below the waist, because I know he's making a joke at his own expense.
Thank you, Carrie. All right, who understands this gentleman? If you could raise your hand, please. We have Bobby. Bobby, if you could unmute yourself. There you are. Hi, Bobby. Oh, Bobby, we can't hear you. Oh, I don't like when that happens. Let's see what we can do here. Bobby, I'm going to promote you to a panelist. That might work, and we can see you. And maybe you can give us a thumbs up, thumbs down kind of a thing, if we can turn your camera on. Bobby, can you try again? Hello? Oh, Carrie and Bobby, we're having a technical difficulty here. We can't hear Bobby's voice.
Okay,
Bobby, yeah.
I did feel that this was going to be a very quick in and out. I have no way of knowing. Okay, then Bobby, you can send Sandra an email, because I do know that if this is your dad, I do know. Okay, well, if you can put it in the chat, then you can let me know yes or no. You would know that your dad had this incredible sense of humor where he would be quite blue with it. So you would know it would be a little bit like toilet humor, like he would make jokes about bodily functions and things like that.
No.
Okay, then I'm not with Bobby. This must be, thanks Bobby for trying. Would anybody understand Dad in the spirit world that would have had this sense of humor that would have been a little bit close to the bone in terms of what Phil said about Brussels sprouts earlier on?
Oh, we have Shan. Shan, if you could unmute yourself. Hello, Shan.
Hello.
Hi, so you understand what I'm saying about Dad's sense of humor?
Oh, yes. Oh,
you
yes.
understand, and you understand too that he would have experienced an illness to do with the prostate or below the waist.
Yes.
Because I know he's making fun of it at his own expense, but it was not pleasant for him.
No.
I know too that he must have shared with you some of the ways that he experienced his illness.
Yes.
He must have made a joke about the male parts though.
Yes.
But I won't even know how I know that, Shan. But I know his sense of humor is the biggest thing here. I know too, during his illness, he would have asked you not to tell other people about what was happening to him.
Yes.
I know there's also this deterioration in his body, but I want to say there must have been a family gathering just before he started to show symptoms of getting very ill, that there's photographs and you'd almost not know anything was wrong with him.
Yes.
And in that photograph, you must have clear memories of who's in that photo.
Yes.
And the people in that photo that are now in the spirit world, because your dad gives me this impression of, wow, look how many people have gone to spirit.
Yes.
This, I know your dad, as a matter of fact, he's in and out, and he would not have wanted too much attention.
No.
He's coming at the end. There's a sense of, right, I'm in, I'm out. You need to know that whatever, no, okay. He's like, no, I'm not completely done yet. With your dad, you would know why your dad would be wanting to point out what's happening in your life right now.
Yes.
Because I know you've been thinking about how would my dad deal with this, because it's a fairly serious situation.
Yes.
And I know your dad's sense of humor keeps springing to mind, that dad would have made a joke of it. I get the sense that were your dad physically here, that he would be dealing with it in a very different way, in an adult way. And I get the sense he wants to acknowledge to you that that's how you're dealing with this.
Yes.
You are not playing pretend. You're not making a joke of it. You are actually being quite adult about it.
Yes.
And that somebody else is being not so adult.
Mm.
Your dad is absolutely 100% in that space with you, bringing a bit of upliftment to you and a bit of lightheartedness to you, but wants to let you know that he appreciates that way, that stability and that stable way you approach things. He really respects that. I know that he would say you got that from your mum, but I know that you appreciated that stability in your dad, because he was actually strong for you.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
know that he provided being that rock in times of you having a wobble.
Yeah, he was brilliant.
Please don't think he's far away. Anything that you wish to say to him, he still hears. You just have a different relationship. You can't physically be together, but emotionally, this is to everybody, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, we all have that chance to have a relationship with our loved ones. Shan, please know this is your dad's way of saying, I am with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And please take that love and support and strength of your dad.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an absolute pleasure to work for you. I'm going to pass you over to Sandra.
Oh, thank you very much, Carrie. Thank you so much for your commitment to humanity on both sides of the veil. And ladies and gentlemen, as much as we talk about being kids, I know if you're deep in grief, there's absolutely nothing worse. So we're just trying to lighten the load, lighten the mood. Your loved ones are very much alive. I promise you that. Carrie, Phil, Darren, Scott, and I have spent many years in the search, and it is all very real. Wish they could just show up, and here we are, but there's a journey of life we have to do. But as a little kid, little kids want to try things. Like, Carrie, how did you do that? I want to try. And you know what? They probably could. They probably could do a pretty good medium reading. Our new classes for August start this coming week. So if you want to join, come. There's a new class on Tuesdays with Carrie and Phil about spirit guides, those people in the unseen world that are helping us all out. Spirit guides, inspirers, and teachers. On Wednesday, we have Psychic Day, and you get to practice on other people in breakout rooms. I'm going to be all excited like a little kid. Oh my God, could you imagine how exciting this is? And then on Thursdays, it's Mediumship Days, and you work with loved ones of the people in the breakout rooms. Oh, so much fun. Mondays, I'm with Scott Milligan for something called Trance in the Altered States. You may have seen him on a Friday when we sit for healing, followed by a demonstration of trance mediumship, and talk about being a little kid. Oh my gosh, somebody from the spirit world actually talks through him. It's amazing. So on Mondays, we get to spend lots of time with our eyes closed. It's not if you want to be a trance medium, maybe you do, but it's just a really good practice to be able to close your eyes and quiet your mind. And that's the place where our loved ones get in touch with us. When our minds are so busy, they don't stand a chance. There's a beautiful thing called sitting in the power that is an opportunity to just slow down. Scott offers a couple of times on Tuesdays. You can join him for Sitting in the Power Hour. But I think all human beings need to know how important this is. It's like plugging in you, like you plug in your tablet or iPhone so it works. Well, we've got to learn how to make it work. And on August 20th, Carrie and Phil are going to be doing a 5-hour experiential journey into sitting in the power. So everybody's welcome to attend that. If you are experiencing deep grief, I just interviewed a lady on the last episode of We Don't Die Radio named Jan Warner, and she wrote a book called Grief Day by Day, and she's also got Grief Speaks Out Facebook group. It's got over 2.5 million members. She's a great lady. And we've also had Kath and Mitch Shirley on last weekend, and they did a great presentation on grief. You can have a free copy of my book, We Don't Die. Chapter 10 is How to Survive Grief. If you are willing to be that little kid, you want to get involved, you're not too sure where to start, please feel free to send me an email. I'm here to help. We all are. Sandra Champlain at gmail.com is my email address. Reach out. So just a few things for our upcoming week is I just want to invite everybody to put on those glasses of looking through life in the eyes of a child. I remember in my catering career, there was a long day and I was prepping for breakfast the next day after being on my feet like 16 hours. And I had these 3 big cases of eggs to crack for breakfast the next morning. And I was not happy. Well, this little boy came into the kitchen. He's like, "You are so lucky. You get to crack all of those eggs." Like, oh my gosh, I wish I had your job. And I thought for myself, like, if I was looking from the eyes of a child, yeah, that'd be exciting. So what I did the next day is I tried to look at all the things I was doing from the eyes of a child. You'll never guess what happened. I was excited. I didn't feel as tired. I could play little games with people. I started talking to people about what their favorite things were and their favorite memories and their favorite kind of ice cream and where they traveled to. And it brought everybody to life. So be that child. I had gone on a Club Med vacation years ago, and they have a slogan: if you're not having fun, it's you. And I clearly remember that because there are times where we can't make anybody else happy, but we can bring in the joy for ourselves. We can bring the joy for other people. We can do that. Just get somebody engaged in their favorite memories. You know, Darren and me and Phil and Carrie and Scott thinking about the roller coasters. I can still hear them laughing. I can still remember the tears coming out of our eyes of joy and the belly laughs. We laugh so hard our stomachs hurt. That's available to all of us, but it's something we create. We don't wait for it to happen. We make it happen. So just before I turn it over to Darren for our closing prayer, I want to thank everyone for being here. A little shout out to our friends who have donated to our Sunday gathering to make it possible. We appreciate you. We know who you are, and we really are grateful. So with that, my friends, my little boys and girls here in our virtual audience, our real audience all over the world, here's Darren for our closing prayer.
Thank you for that, Sandra. And you know, it's been an absolute joy and privilege to listen and watch this gathering. And I think next time we go to Disney on a roller coaster, somebody needs to take a selfie stick so that we can play the video back here on a Sunday gathering and everyone can see and immerse themselves in exactly what we've been talking about all this time. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to close your eyes and join me for the closing prayer. We'd like to thank our friends, brothers and sisters from across the world for coming here together today in unity under that banner of We Don't Die and allowing us all to embrace ourselves in the love and the joy that is of the spirit world. To our friends, helpers and loved ones of that world we call unseen, we'd like to thank you for sharing that healing balm and sharing that love and sharing your words and your thoughts, allowing us all here to be part of that, which in turn brings us all healing, love, upliftment and happiness, and allows us all to leave here in a more positive state of mind. We'd like to thank you for the opportunity and giving the trust and the faith in us to be the channel of your world, and allowing us to share your words and thoughts with all ears here present. We've done this to the best of our ability and our understanding. It's been an absolute joy and privilege to work for your world and work with your world and be a true representative for your world. And we've done this, as always, with the utmost integrity. As we leave this Sunday gathering and continue our daily lives and continue our journeys, we do so reminding ourselves to allow our inner child to raise to the surface every now and again, so that we can negate the worries and stresses of our day-to-day lives and bring the joy and the happiness back into the words of our lives and live our lives as it's truly meant to be. And remind ourselves that every now and again we may need to look through the eyes of a child and to be truly honoured and blessed to see the world as it is, of natural beauty and wonder under our sun. And as we leave this Sunday gathering, we ask that a healing light continues to shine across our world, so that we can continue to make this world a better place for each and every person that lives under this sun. And we can bring joy and happiness and the childlike memories to all that need it at this moment in time. Until we meet again, friends. Amen.
Thank you very much, Darren. And for our closing song, I've got a song that was recorded before I was on planet Earth. You know, we saw Katy Perry in a great music video at the beginning, and we've got some just great things. Well, long before we were walking on the earth, somebody who was a really big hit in the day was Perry Como. And he's got a song, Young at Heart. And some of our big kids that are with us that might have been born a little bit back before our days will remember this. This was actually recorded on March 28th, 1966 with some friends. Maybe you've heard of Kukla, Fran, and Ollie. Well, this is Kukla and Ollie with Perry Como and Young at Heart. All right, my friends, let's put us all on the screen here. We wish you a wonderful week. Go play. Okay, make magic happen. You can do it. We love you. We thank you. Come see us this week on one of our new courses. Mwah! Thanks, everybody. Bye.